Compact SUVs are by far the most popular type of vehicle on sale today. There's more of them out there than there are grains of sand on a beach. Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, Mazda CX-5, Ford Escape, Chevy Equinox. The list just goes on and on and on. So to really stand out in this crowded market, you have to make some really drastic changes, which is what Kia did for the 2023 Sportage. So how does this one stack up against all the others? Well, let's go for a drive and find out. Let's start this review by looking at the Sportage X-Line with the base 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. This motor can produce 187 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. That is a pretty good amount of power and torque, but the problem is that if you're expecting a punchy feel from the engine, you're not going to get it until the RPM needle hits the 3000 mark. Anything below that, it just feels like as though it's a turbocharged engine and you fell off the boost when you upshifted. That's the best way that I can describe how this engine feels below that 3000 mark. Above it, it has plenty of pull and plenty of power. But again, below it, doesn't feel quite as fast. Now, I'm not going to say that it's so slow below that 3000 RPM mark that it will impede the people behind you. It's just that you'll be on the throttle pedal more often to get the CUV going, which in turn will use more fuel. But if you want a more punchy feeling from the Kia Sportage, then you have to go for the hybrid version. This one has a smaller engine, it's only 1.6 liters, but it is still a 4-cylinder, and it is turbocharged. Plus, of course, it has the help from the electric motor, which can provide all of its torque instantaneously. The total system output is 227 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. With this powertrain, you don't need to wait for the engine to get into its sweet spot because the electric motor can instantly provide all the torque that is needed to get the car going. Plus, because this engine is turbocharged, that means that the peak torque is reached at much lower RPM, so the engine doesn't need to work quite as hard to really get the car going. On top of all that, because it is a hybrid, fuel economy is actually really good. Officially, this 2023 Kia Sportage hybrid is rated for 6.1 liters per 100 kilometers in a city and 6.3 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway. However, if you are very gentle with the throttle, then you can actually get better fuel economy than advertised. Currently, I'm actually averaging 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers. Granted, most of this is city driving, and in that environment is where this car really gets the best fuel economy. So on highways, it is going to be a little bit worse than this. But still, the fact that you're getting better than advertised fuel economy numbers is a really nice positive. The base 2.5-liter engine is not as fuel efficient. It's actually less fuel efficient than the 2.5-liter engine under the hood of the Mazda CX-5. This Sportage 2.5-liter all-wheel drive is rated for 10.4 liters per 100 kilometers in a city and 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway. During my time with the car, I averaged 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is the official combined rating. The CX-5 all-wheel drive with the 2.5-liter engine has a combined fuel economy rating of 9 liters per 100 kilometers, or about 26 miles per gallon. Shifting gears with the base 2.5-liter non-hybrid engine is an 8-speed automatic transmission. When you let the transmission do its own thing and just drive, it shifts nice and smoothly and you don't really notice the gear shifts, which is a good thing. But if you want to take over control and shift the gears yourself, that's when you notice just how slow this transmission is to react to the driver's inputs. So for example, I am going to put the car into sport mode, and I am going to put into manual mode, and I am going to upshift now, and now the transmission shifted. That's a good 1 second delay, maybe even almost 2 seconds. So it's slow on the upshifts and it's just as slow on the downshifts. So it's best to just leave the transmission into D and let the computer decide when to change gears. As for the hybrid, it comes with a 6-speed automatic. It is not a CVT like how it is in other hybrid vehicles. This 6-speed auto gives the car a more natural driving characteristic. But again, if you do take over the shifting duties, then this transmission is also slow, so best to just leave it into D. As for the driving dynamics of the 2023 Sportage, it's not really the most engaging crossover SUV out there. But you know what, that's okay, because the main focus of this car is to be a city runabout, and it's really good at that. The steering is really light, the suspension is on the softer side, so it does absorb a lot more of the bumps, and it's just very easy to drive, both with the hybrid powertrain and with the non-hybrid powertrain. One thing that I want to note is that with the hybrid engine, it does use regenerative braking to recoup some electricity for the battery. The rest is all taken care of by the engine. But the regen braking is really smooth. You don't really notice the difference between using regen braking and using the physical brakes, which is a really good thing. And unfortunately, there are no different regen braking modes. There's no one pedal driving, there's no levels 1, 2, and 3 or anything like that. All of it is controlled through the brake pedal. This particular Sportage that I'm driving is the X-Line, so it's meant to be a more off-road focused trim level. But don't be fooled, because this is actually just an appearance package. If you want a proper Sportage off-road, then you have to go for the X Pro, which unfortunately we do not have here in Canada. This X-Line comes with 19-inch wheels and all-season tires. That's not exactly off-road focused gear. The X Pro, on the other hand, comes with 17-inch wheels and more knobbly tires so that it can handle more extreme, I shouldn't say extreme, but more difficult off-road situations. It's not going to take on a Ford Bronco and win, but you can go on more muddy roads on like this compact gravel for a service road. As I said in the performance section of the review, the Kia Sportage has pretty soft suspension, which actually makes it really good for absorbing bumps and providing a really smooth ride. The wheelbase is a little bit longer than the previous generation, so that also aids in providing a smoother ride, and it also makes it feel a little bit more stable on highways. Another big difference with this 2023 model is that the cabin is much more well insulated. Not only is it quieter in terms of wind and tire noise, but also engine noise. Obviously with the hybrid, when you're running on EV like how I am right now, there's no engine noise to speak of. But even when the engine does turn on, it's much more subdued. You don't hear it quite as harshly as you would in the previous generation. The 2023 Sportage has taken quite a lot of inspiration in terms of the interior design from other Kia models. Some good, some not so good. So the good is the wraparound screen, which is actually consisting of 2 individual screens, one for the driver display and one for the infotainment system. The infotainment system is the same one that is used throughout other current Kia models. It's very easy to use, it's really easy to navigate around, and it actually looks really nice. The only thing is it does not have wireless Apple CarPlay or wireless Android Auto. You still have to connect your phone into the USB port. Another good thing is the use of physical buttons. So it has physical buttons right here on the steering wheel, a few to the left side of the driver, and a few for the heated and ventilated seat controls. Unfortunately, one of the bad interior designs that the Sportage took from other Kia models is the extensive use of gloss black plastic. It's all along here on the center console, a little bit on the door panels, and a little bit on the trimmings for the dashboard. Thankfully, they did not use gloss black plastic right here on the door pull, like the Kia EV6, for example. This is an area that gets used a lot, so fingerprints and smudges are very easily going to be shown here. So instead they used leather, red for this one and black for the other one. But right here on the center console, dust, fingerprints, scratches, they're easily going to be visible. But one thing that I do like about this center console is the rotating cup holders. So you just rotate it to lock it and have more space, or push this button and it just pops up. Makes me feel like a kid, just playing around with it all day. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Also, one more thing that the Kia Sportage has taken from other Kia models, the EV6 specifically, is the climate/infotainment controls. If you push this button, then you can have the climate controls, or if you push it again, then you have the infotainment controls, or quick access buttons for the infotainment, I should say. Personally, I have no issue with this because I normally just leave it on the climate menu, and then I use the infotainment system itself to navigate around it, or the steering wheel mounted buttons for the volume, for example. So personally for me, I have no issue with this. I know other automotive journalists have complained about it, that it's a bit too finicky, that you have to constantly switch between it. But like I said, for me, I just leave it in climate control menu and I'm totally happy with it. As for interior space, this 2023 Sportage is a little bit bigger than the previous generation, so at 6'4", I have plenty of space. Legroom is not an issue, headroom is totally fine, although it would be nice if this seat went down even further, but unfortunately this is as low as it goes. The back seats also have a lot of space for tall adults like myself, so behind my driving position, as you can see, I have plenty of leg space. Headroom is also okay, although my hair is pretty close to this headliner, however it's not actually touching. Also, these seats, they do recline, and they recline by quite a lot. I mean, check this out. It's quite a bit. The center does have a little bit of a hump, but it's not that big, and also the outboard seats on this top spec trim are heated. So your heater controls are right here. There's also USB ports on the back of the front seats, and the cup holders are right here. Some of the cargo space has been sacrificed in the hybrid Sportage compared to the non-hybrid version. It can accommodate 1,118 liters with the rear seats up and 2,086 liters with the seats folded. The non-hybrid Sportage has 1,121 liters of space with the seats up and 2,098 liters with the seats folded. So thankfully, it's not a huge difference. The 2023 Kia Sportage starts at $28,595 Canadian for the LX front-wheel drive. This X-Line limited trim costs $41,395 Canadian, and it is not available in the American market. For those in the United States, you have the X Pro Prestige at $36,790 American. The 2023 Kia Sportage Hybrid starts at $36,495 Canadian, with this SX trim costing $43,195 Canadian. One thing that Kia vehicles have become synonymous with is providing bang for your buck. This 2023 Sportage is no different, with heated seats all round, ventilated front seats, wireless phone charging, surround view cameras, power liftgate, panoramic sunroof, and a full suite of advanced driver aids. There's even a heated windshield like how you get in certain Range Rover models, and a parking aid which can not only assist with parallel or perpendicular parking, but also move the car forward or backwards without anyone in it, just like a Genesis vehicle. By far the most bold change to the 2023 Sportage is the exterior styling. It looks nothing like the previous generation with an almost alien-like design. I think it looks fantastic. And finally, the 2023 Sportage is a very safe vehicle. The IIHS awarded the car with a top safety pick with top marks in crash tests and for advanced driver and safety aids. But it received acceptable and poor scores for headlight performance, depending on trim level of course, which is why it did not receive an overall Top Safety Pick Plus award. So let's recap. The 2023 Kia Sportage looks drastically different than any other compact SUV on sale today. The interior is much more spacious than before and quieter. You still get a lot of the same features and gadgets that you would expect from a Kia vehicle at a pretty reasonable price. And it's easy to drive and really comfortable to drive as well. Not the most engaging like the Mazda CX-5, but if you want comfort out of a compact SUV, this is the one to go for. Also, this is the one to choose in terms of powertrains, the hybrid. The base engine feels lackluster. You really need to push hard on that throttle pedal to get the most out of it. And in turn, that will use up a lot of fuel. Whereas with the hybrid, you have the power and you have the fuel economy. Now I know getting your hands on a hybrid vehicle in 2022 and probably even 2023 is going to be difficult, but if you have the budget and you have the patience to wait for one, this is the way to go. If you want to know more about this Sportage Hybrid and the X-Line, I wrote a more detailed review of it over on my website. You can find that link in the video description or click on the pop-up banner right up here. And as always, I will see you in the next car or truck or most likely another SUV. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.